I'm going to talk about the Marcellino latch. I'm going to show you how to use it. It's really easy and simple. I'm also going to talk about some of the other locks that I designed and have installed throughout the years. My first lock design was this latch. I used to make briefcases in the early days for a lot of lawyers and doctors and professionals. But a lot of the lawyers used to come back to me and say they want a briefcase that's really easy to open. They want it, classic, a nice, simple closing mechanism that'll also last. But they want to get away from that buckle, like these old satchel English style briefcases that have the real buckles. I mean, they're great. The style is classic, and nothing beats a buckle in terms of strength and how long it'll last. They outlast everything. But there's only one problem: you got to sit there and you got to unbuckle. And one time through the day is fine. Maybe 2 times in and out is fine. But if you're in your briefcase in and out 4, 5, 6 times a day, doing this gets a little hectic. I see a lot of my clients, they'll do this throughout the day. They'll just put it in the straps, and that works good if there's a center lock. But if there's no center lock, this doesn't work good. That works good if you have a briefcase like this, where you have your lock and you still want your buckles. And buckles are great for security, because if you're on a train or if you leave this down on a desk, it's hard for someone to go into your briefcase. Sure, if you have a center lock, you can lock it and then take away the key. But sometimes, you don't think anyone's going to steal it, but you just don't want anyone peeking. The buckles are the best. Or if you're on a subway and it's packed and you have it around your shoulder, the buckles are the best for that. Sorry about that. All right, so like I said, a lot of times what the customers will do is they'll have the lock in the center, and then they'll just put the straps around the loops throughout the day, just to make it easy to get in and out. So that's this style, right? It's great. You got your real buckles. You got your real classic solid brass 2-key lock. Nothing beats this. I get these from England. It's probably the last lock maker in the world that makes them by hand, like this. Almost true form to the classic ones. I have a classic briefcase here, and you could see this briefcase is like about 100 years old, and you could see that the locks that they're making, to replicate those old school English locks. So that's this lock. It's a great lock. It'll last quite some time. It's not like those Chinese locks that are made not as good, let's just say. But it's not a buckle or it's not a latch. So if you want something that'll last probably as long as the leather, you have to go with something that doesn't have too many breakable parts. The buckle is basic. It doesn't have many breakable parts. It's just the tongue and the buckle itself. It'll last forever. So you don't want to deal with all of that buckle stuff. I designed this. It took a couple of years to really get the design down. I get these latches from a saddle replace. They use this a lot in the horse tack industry. So after many designs, working with the structure and the handle and the way it carries the weight, we came up with this design. It's simple. It's basic. There's nothing to break. It just pivots right here. It's stitched to the leather. Like I said, it'll last as long as the leather, as long as the seams will last, and the briefcase itself will last good 50 years of your average use. But yeah, that's just it. So this is the latch, Marcellino latch, and the way it works is it just opens up. You got your top part, you got your bottom part, and it just it closes in. Now the thing about this latch, when I put this latch on thinner leather, it tends to shake off. This is thick leather, so it doesn't shake off even when it's empty. But when you pack out the briefcase and it bulks out, another good thing, say you want to put a sweater, you want to just bulk it out, this thing gets tighter and it just doesn't move. As you can see, this briefcase is empty, but this is made of nice, thick English bridal leather, so it's stiff, and the stiffness allows it to not come loose. But what I do with a lot of the small bags that have this latch, even this, you can see it's got a little bit of a loose, but still it won't come loose if it's hanging like on your shoulder. What I do is if you're carrying a bag that's empty, and I don't see most people carrying bags that are empty, or maybe you have a few loose things that day, I make these leather loops that wedges on the bottom, just so you don't get that shake and even potential. I don't know, if you turn it around, it might come off. I don't see anyone doing acrobatics with the briefcase, but just in case, I include the leather loop on all the latch style briefcases, from the small one to the large one. Let me show you how that loop works. Alright, so right now there's nothing on it, and I usually include a chain as well on the leather loop. You can either chain it to maybe one of the D-rings if the briefcase has a D-ring, or you can chain it to the top part of the hasp right here, and it just hangs just as needed. But right now I'm going to show you how to use this basic leather loop. If it comes and it's a little bit new and stiff, give it some time to stretch out, or maybe stretch it out with your finger. And you're going to wedge it on the top of the top brass part. Right? Wedge it like that, just so you can put the bottom brass part through it. So once it's through it, the top loop now wedges right down to the bottom. I got to turn around so I can see. It wedges right down to the bottom, and then wedges on the bottom, just so now this thing is not moving. So now you just have that extra protection. Also, if you're out on the subway and you have the briefcase wrapped around you, no one can just, it's almost like a locking mechanism. So that's the latch. If you have any questions, you can always email me, and we can discuss it.